Technology has certainly driven a lot of what we've done in officiating. As technology gets better, the bar raises. And so you have the home experience is so much better than it was 20 years ago. High definition and multiple angles and all the analysis that they're getting. And so the scrutiny on officiating is that much more, and we have to keep up with that. So certainly with the advent of instant replay, we're trying to stay on the cutting edge of technology, and we're trying to get the calls right, and we're going to use technology to do that. And that's why our replay system has advanced to where it is, where we're using high-def technology. We're using multiple angles. And so we're trying to have the fan at home see the same thing that the officials are seeing under the hood, and so we can both come to the same conclusion, and hopefully that's the right conclusion.
And if there ultimately is some call that tends to be controversial and is picked up by the news media, how do you communicate what's gone on behind the scenes to the media and to the public?
Sure. Well, the first thing, and we've really taken a stance on being transparent. Now, if there's a mistake that's made, we want to step up and be accountable for that. But we also want to educate in terms of, okay, here's the rule. Here's what the official is looking at. Here's what his perspective is, and then explain if it is a mistake. Here's why the error occurred. Here's what should have happened. So we analyze everything, and then the big thing is coming out and saying, okay, we did make a mistake. Here's why, and try to educate people as to the entire process, because it's very easy to sit after the fact and analyze the different angles and say, well, that was an incorrect call. But in the moment, the official, he has one look at it, full speed, it happens very quickly, and he has to make a decision. So sometimes mistakes happen, and we want to be accountable when they do.
What are some of the major misconceptions that the general public has about instant replay?
I think the biggest one is that the referee has different angles than what everybody's seeing at home. And it was really important when we put the system in to say, we don't want to make decisions based on angles that everybody at home doesn't see. And so we're looking at the same information so that we don't have a situation where we make a decision and everybody at home is wondering why. We took it a step further last year where we actually show the under the hood feed. So the angles that the referee is looking at, we show that in the stadium during the review so the fans in the stadium can actually see why the decision is made. So I think that's the biggest misconception, that we have secret angles or cameras hidden somewhere. It's all the network cameras, and it's all the stuff that's going out over the air to the people at home.
Several coaches went on the field during the season last year, which I understand is a violation of the rules. How do you sanction those coaches, and do you sanction the coaches?
Yeah, well, we do. We work with the coaches every week. Our crews work with the teams to say, the sideline, that white area, that's for the game officials, and the coaches need to stay out of that. Every team actually has what's called a get-back coach. And that get-back coach is a coach that's responsible. I'm going to go to the get-back coach and say, hey, coach, you have to get everybody back. And he's responsible then for communicating that to the team and the coaches. So when they do, if something happens where a coach or a player gets onto the field and interferes with the play, there's a penalty that can be assessed, which is called a palpably unfair act. There could be potential discipline in terms of fines to the coach or the team. So that's something we address on a case-by-case basis when it happens, which is very rare, but it has happened.
For a whole month during the season, we see some of the biggest, baddest dudes out there dressed in their pink. How did that come about?
Well, I think it's an initiative. The NFL has several initiatives, the breast cancer awareness, salute to service. And so I think it was just a natural fit. It's such a great cause. And it's a visible, with the pink, it's so visible. I mean, we had our officials decked out in pink. We had pink whistles, pink flags last year. So there are a lot of initiatives like that, great causes that the NFL takes a part in, and that's one of them.
And it's real important, the work you do. You support a lot of causes, and as a member of the public, we applaud the NFL for your high morals and for doing things like that. It's a wonderful thing. This past January in Forbes magazine, a contributor wrote an article entitled 28 Years of Getting It Wrong. Is the NFL really getting it mostly right and seldom getting it wrong?
Whenever you notice officiating, it's when there's a mistake. And that's why the profile is so much higher now. And so when there's a good call, people really don't talk about it. And when you look at our overall percentage of accuracy, it's been the last couple of years about 98%. And if you're 98% good at something that you do, that's pretty good.
That's pretty darn good.
But when we do make a mistake, people will harp on it. So I think we are getting it right. I think there's room for improvement, and consistency is certainly an area that we're going to continue to work on. But I would disagree with that.
One of the things the article talks about was the Western Championship game. And again, I think it's fans don't really understand which plays are and which plays are not reviewable. So I wonder if, in fact, you might take a few minutes and tell us just briefly what plays can't be reviewed. Like in that particular case, you had a player at the goal line, and there was a controversy over that, but that wasn't reviewable.
It wasn't reviewable. That was a fumble was ruled on the field, and who recovered that fumble is not a reviewable play. Was not a reviewable play at that time. That rule has since proposed to be changed to make it a reviewable play. Wow. In the institution of replay, the competition committee felt that we wanted to deal in fact, not a subjective call. So did the ball hit the ground? Did the foot touch the sideline? Was the knee down? Not whether is that enough restriction for holding. So what's reviewable is things that involve possession of the football, the boundary lines, the sideline, the goal line, the end line. But when you're talking about pure subjective calls, holding, pass interference, those are not reviewable.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.